Hello, everybody. Welcome to That Yearbook podcast with those yearbook people. We are so excited you're here for
Yes,
season 2, episode 9,
9. We've done
the
9.
season
Yeah.
finale.
Nice.
Yes, yes.
Whoa, that's kind
How
of
did we
crazy.
get here? Yes, but we are so excited you guys are here. It's May. We are wrapping things up. Even if you're a summer fall delivery, you see the light at the end of the tunnel. You're
Yes.
almost there. We're making progress. And today we're going to talk a lot about wrapping up the year and
Yeah.
getting ready for the summer
Yeah.
and even for next year. It's never too
Yes.
early.
No, we're going to end one and launch the next one.
That's
It's
right.
that's the crazy thing about this yearbook thing we do is it's a big cycle. You
It
end
never
one
stops.
and it never
It
stops.
never ends.
I mean, I was talking to some of my friends in Florida. Some seniors are checking out at the end of this week. That's
Mhm.
crazy.
I was at a school
Um,
yesterday where their last day of school is next Wednesday.
yeah, it's unbelievable. Now, the poor people in
Crazy.
California, and well, California is 1st of June. Some of those New York people, it's like the middle of June before they get out, which is just kind of crazy.
It
But
is.
but what we want to talk about today, the important thing is one of the most often asked questions is once the yearbook is done, what do we do? How do we keep everybody busy? So today we have a twofold thing going on here. We're going to talk about some things you can do now between now and the end of the year. And then we're also going to give you some tips about what you might consider doing over the summer.
Yeah, this is like we always talk about, I said it on the theme podcast, like this is the best time of year. Clean slate, so
Clean
much to
slate.
do, anything
Yeah.
is possible, even
Anything
though
is
I know
possible.
we all want a nap, we all want to just take a hot minute, nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the fun time of year. We can do so much, and but there's a lot of things on our kind of to-do list that we do want to make sure we get done before the end of the school year, just to make sure we're set up for success for the following school year. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about in the training video that's going to be accompanied with this podcast. What do you do now that the book is done? What things are important? What do you do to get ready for the summer and to start the year off right? And I think one of the first things that comes to mind, I hope you all are thinking the same way, when you're wrapping up the book, when the books are getting delivered and you're getting ready for distribution, we hope you are taking some time to celebrate, to have fun,
No, absolutely. Yeah.
enjoy
Yeah.
this.
Yes.
Like you worked really hard for it. So
That's
yeah,
right.
we want to get started on next year, but like let's have some fun, have a
You gotta have
party.
you gotta party. No, you gotta have parties. You gotta have many parties.
Many parties,
In my
lots of
era,
celebrations.
Friday was party day. So we'd bring in some
Yes.
food and we'd, have a theme and it was great. And then don't forget putting on a banquet or some kind of an awards ceremony where you're really going to talk about the great accomplishment you've made with the book. That's always in the 1st of May, somewhere around there where you gather everybody, even bring the parents in
Yeah.
and get them involved. So banquet is great. And then obviously the distribution is a celebration and you got to
Yeah.
figure out what the best way to do that is
Another party.
and another party. And then we have so many great distribution resources on walsworthyearbooks.com. I was just checking it out yesterday and go in there, get some tips, see what you need to do and go from there. And it's always really important right from the get-go to connect with your administration so they're all on board with what you're doing and they're going to support you and celebrate you. One other thing I want to talk about now is take some time to thank your staff, your teachers for their support over the year. We used to send a letter out saying we were done and just take time to thank them because all those times we've interrupted their classes for interviews and asked for their help with data and stuff. You really need to let the staff know how much you appreciate them.
Yeah, this is a win-win for everybody. Like this is a goodwill building for the future because you're going to need to interrupt that class again next year. You're going to need to ask them for favors in the future. So
Yes.
yes, this is like it is very kind and warm-hearted and generous, but also like we need to do this to make sure we still
You're setting
have
the
these
table
people.
for
Yeah,
next
that's
year.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. But also, I will say, like, I was at a school yesterday, Dawson County High School. Shout out to those guys. I saw a big banner, like a fully printed banner in their classroom, like a professional one, not like butcher paper and, paint and stuff, but like a professionally made banner that said, "Pardon the interruption." And they had a big thank you to all of their teachers and administrators and everything. And they were talking about who was picking up the donuts and who was bringing blah blah blah. And they were putting on like a little breakfast for their teachers and their
Oh
faculty and
my
their
goodness. That's
administrators. I was
perfect.
like, that's so great. Like what a
Yeah.
great way to say, hey, the yearbook's here, it's distributed, we're super excited about it, but like couldn't have happened without you guys. I thought that was such a
That's it.
cool, and the whole pardon the interruption thing, the PTI thing, like that made me happy. That was a great idea. But
Yeah.
yeah, you have to take time to do that stuff, celebrate, have fun. Even like when we were talking about with awards, like don't feel like you need to go spend a bunch of money on plaques. I have seen people do that. I love that. I think that's really cool. But I've seen people print out certificates, or I've seen editors decorate paper plates and they do these like paper plate awards and they make them look all cool. So like it can be anything. It doesn't have to be a formal sit down dinner banquet. Like it could be a party in your classroom, you know? And both are great, but just as long as you're taking the time to celebrate your staff and your people, that's what's most important.
So we got the celebration going. There still are some projects that need to be done before the end of the year. You
Wah
hate to
wah.
say it,
There's
but
still work.
there's still work to be done. And you got to keep people busy. You got to keep people moving because you don't want anybody to say, well, the last 5-6 weeks isn't valuable educationally. And we're also going to talk about some projects that are going to be helpful to making it be a valuable time. One thing we always had the editors have every editor do a manual for their position to hand off to the person that has their job next year. Make your editors, give them time to reflect on what they've gone through in the process and kind of the what I wish I knew then when I started now, or what I wish I knew when I started the job. And if you can get them to settle down and make time to do that, it's so invaluable for the people taking over their job next year. Got to
And I know
share all that.
it is hard to focus on that stuff this time of year because everybody's like checked out, like we're
Yeah,
done. But
yeah.
worth it, like worth it. If you can do it as a group, do it as a staff, even like do it in small groups, so they can pinball ideas off of each other. But that will be you will thank yourself in the fall
Yeah. Oh yeah.
for having that done now, because that I always see schools, I'm sure you saw this, where editors are reaching out to the graduated editors that are now in college going like, what did you do here? And how did you handle this? And blah, blah, blah. Like, man, just have them write it all down now so you don't have to like catch them in between classes while they're in college trying to figure out how they did all this stuff.
Yeah.
You've got it there and settled and ready to go. Another thing I would say is, and this is a simple one, well, it's simple in theory, but it is hard. It is cleaning up from the school year. And I mean
Oh,
like not only
deep
like
clean.
digitally on your computers, like I know my desktop, Jim has seen it. Some certain times of year, it looks like a nightmare. Like it is just little files everywhere. You all know how this goes. Like there's files called, page 150, this one is the correct one, use this one, exclamation point, sitting all over, images everywhere. Like get that stuff organized. And then also your actual room, because I know my classroom was just a train wreck by the end of the year. Our closet had like books thrown everywhere, equipment, is it in the right location? Like if it's there, maybe it's not where it should be. There's just stuff living all over the place because you were in a mad rush to finish the book. Yay. Now that that's done, go back and organize and clean up all that stuff so you can start the year up on the right foot.
This is the time to clean the dreaded yearbook refrigerator. If you're lucky
Yeah.
enough to have a refrigerator, it gets pretty
Just
bad.
the
So it's time
snack
to,
that like how many stale cookies and chips and or
oh,
whatnot are in there.
yogurts and oh my goodness.
I had a girl. I had one time I was out. I just have to tell this story. I had one time I was out at towards the end of the school year, when everything's just a mess. And I think it was for like a spring workshop. And I came back and I saw we had a sink in the classroom. And I came back and I saw two like plastic cups, like little solo cups, turned upside down in the sink. And I was like, these kids, oh my God, we got to clean this stuff up. Like it's a mess in here. So I just pick up the plastic cups to throw them away. Cockroaches were trapped.
Ah,
They trapped them and just left them there. I was like, what is
oh,
happening? Like
crazy,
that was
crazy.
my motivation. I was like, it's gone too far. If we're just trapping and leaving cockroaches in the yearbook room, it's time. It's time to clean.
But I want to go back to the idea of organizing your files, particularly your photo files and your JPEG files. We would love it, by the way, a little commercial here. We would love you to make JPEGs or PDFs or PNGs of your spreads and send them to us in
Yes,
double page
please.
form so we can promote your great work. So send them to us. We'd love to have that. But your photo files in particular. Now this is time for an old Jim joke. Back in the day,
Yay. Back in the
we
day when the earth was cooling and dinosaurs were
yeah,
walking the planet. We haven't had
when
one of
we
those in a while. I gotta take
when
advantage.
Matthew Brady and I were figuring out photography.
Yeah.
But we used to have these boxes in my English teaching room. We had these stacks and stacks above the cabinets of these boxes of all the old yearbook photos that we never used. And so literally, there were 500
Like
photos
print.
that were printed out that
Mhm.
we printed in our darkroom or took them down to the 1 hour print. And we had a space where they all were. And reunion committees would come in and they would like go through the box and take stuff for their reunion. And it was great. That doesn't exist anymore. So you need to figure out a strategy, particularly for organizing your photos, where you'll have a hard drive where you're saving them somewhere in the cloud, perhaps, where you can go back and 2025, here's all the photos, 2024, here's all the files, 2023. And you have to be meticulous about that because if you don't, it all gets away from you. Some of them get thrown away, your computer crashes, and boom, they're
Computers get
lost.
wiped over the summer a lot of times from tech, from the your district office. So yeah, archive all that stuff now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
again, you got to think of your future self. Future Sabrina will be so thankful that past Sabrina organized all these photos now because you think you're going to deal with it at the beginning of the school year, you're not. Like you're going to have too much
No.
going on.
Mm.
Do it now. Your future self will thank you.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Now, we're talking about, well, one other thing I want to mention, a little project that I often use with my seniors, the people that they're ready to check out, they're kind of done, but you want to keep
They're
them a little
done.
busy. What I had them do, and you can have the whole staff do this, is do little research projects on different clubs, sports, activities that happened in the yearbook that were covered in the yearbook. So it's really interesting to go back and say, write a one-page report on what happened in homecoming in the past 10 years or in the past 25 years. And what they'll find out is the years that did a good job covering the event, there was lots of information. The years that they didn't do a good job covering that club, there's nothing. So it
Mhm.
just really kind of shows how important it is to keep these records and record them, because if we don't keep it in the yearbook, it's going to be saved
Nowhere
nowhere else.
else. Hmm.
Nobody can we figure out what the last year was when the football team had a winning season? The only place you're going to find that is in the yearbook. And that's why scoreboards are important and all those kind of things. It's a permanent record of all that data.
Yeah.
So it's fun to do these little projects. They don't have to be big and drawn out, but it allows the students to flip through old yearbooks and find out just a little bit of data about the school.
Yeah. And that might give them some ideas jumping into the next thing about what they can do for summer coverage. Like, are there
Yes.
clubs and sports and things like that that are doing something over the summer that we need to figure out stuff now? I know, like, all the time we're in August and September going, did anybody get pictures of this over the summer? Does anybody have photos of that? Does anybody know that this, club went on this trip or they did this camp or workshop? Oh man, August, September, you don't want to be trying to backtrack. Get ahead of the game. Start now. Figure out, start talking to these clubs and these leaders and even just students. Where are you going on vacation? What are you doing this summer? How do you plan on spending your time? If you're working, where are you working? And then see if you can schedule times to either go get pictures of things that are happening so you have them when you start the school year, or talk to those people. Like if somebody's, going on a vacation, you probably aren't going with them. You're probably not packing
No.
your bags and going, with them to Europe or wherever they're going. So get them to take pictures for the yearbook. You know what I mean? Like that way they have in mind, I'm not just taking pictures for myself from Instagram. I'm taking pictures because I know the yearbook staff is going to use this in the yearbook. And so they know that that's in their mind. And that way they have them ready for you when you need them when they get back. So if you start now, that summer coverage, when you get in the fall, you could knock out those spreads super easy because you already have a plan for them. You're not
Yeah.
backtracking.
And this is a great place to really use your social media channels to really be talking to your student body all the time during the summer to find out, hey, what's going on? Can we come? Where are you going to be? Can we get your Instagram photos? All those kind of things. I always have to tell this story. It's one of the shameful stories of my yearbook career.
You don't have any of those gems.
My very first year, brand new staff. I'm the rookie advisor. I'm like 25, 26 or whatever. It was October and our first deadline was coming up and we didn't have any summer pictures. So my editors concocted this idea. We have this full double page spread of some wonderful students running into Folsom Lake, which is our big summer lake. And the only problem was it was 40 degrees and they did it in the middle of October. So they were staged summer photos, and we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, but I mean, those kids are troopers for doing that. They have to you got to really love the yearbook to jump in a 40-degree water.
And they're all and the crazy thing is they're all getting ready to retire. All those students from that period. So
it was so long ago
and far away. Yeah. So get your plan for summer photos going now. And we did a whole thing once too, and I've talked about this before. Our summer coverage was the 72 days of summer, and we just had, June 16th, July 4th, August 2, all those kind of things. And we had just little stories on things that happened in that sequence, but we planned ahead of time. And like you said, we were so glad we did. Yeah. And we had a section just being ready to go.
Love it. I love that. And then speaking of summer, there's also fun things like camp and workshops that you can do. What a great way, if we're talking about how to start next year on the right foot, then getting your staff ready with a camp or a workshop is huge. It's huge. Plus, I mean, camp is just fun. I will say we went to camp every summer. At one point I had 30 something students, almost 40 kids on staff, and almost every single one of them went to camp. And it's not because I made them or promoted it or, dangled a grade over their head or anything. It was literally just because they loved it. It was like a thing. You did not want to miss out on camp and be left out of all of those stories and memories and experiences. Camp is huge, not just for getting the theme going, like getting your skill set and everything, but it's huge in getting your staff to like each other, to bond with one another. And I know that's not everyone can do that, right? Like not everybody even knows who their staff is until the school year starts. So sometimes that can be hard for staffs. But if you're able to, it's a great way to get everybody on board, having fun, staying up late, eating junk food, working together on stuff, like playing games. Like that's where the staff bonding magic happens. It happens at camp. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. And in the long run, this came up on someone's social media challenge and channel. One of our really good advisor friends went to a wedding of one of his former students.
Saw that. Loved it.
And what that brought up in my mind, you think being on yearbook staff is about creating a yearbook, and it is. But really, what it's all about is creating lifelong, lifelong friendships, lifelong relationships that you're going to carry with you for 40, 50 years. And that's really fun. I know both of us we could name 20, 30, 50 students that we still talk to periodically because of our experience with them in that yearbook room. We went through the fire together, and we'll never forget that process. Hey, a couple more things I want to mention about summer. This is a big challenge. This is like a secret challenge. You might not do this, but if you do, it will make your year so much easier. Design editors, design people, start playing with your software. Start creating layouts. We're not talking about vibe stuff. We're talking about make some absolutely cool layouts in the summer. Take your inspiration, try to interpret into a layout spread, but you can do this at home with your software. Anytime a yearbook would show me in the 1st of August, Mr. Jordan, look at these spreads that I'm working on. It was like, whoa, I knew it'd be a magical. I knew it was going to be a magical year. So practice, take some time a little bit of time to practice. It's going to make a big difference.
Even watch some YouTube tutorials on how to do something in Photoshop or in Illustrator and InDesign, learn some new tricks, learn some new effects, study some graphic designers. Like just look up other graphic designers and see what work they're doing. Go, oh, that's cool. I wonder how they did that. Now's your free time, right? Once the school year starts, you're in like go mode. You are in production. You're trying to get stuff done. You're trying to sell books. You're trying to, market your book. You're getting your staff trained. Like that's the time when you're working. Now is your time to like let your mind roam freely over the course of design and look at graphics, look at color palettes. Yes, for the sake of your theme and your book, but also just for getting your own like skill set raised up so you don't lose that over the summer and come back and be like, what's the text tool do again? Like what's the black arrow? Like you don't need, we don't need to waste that time. Keep those skills, keep your design chops up to speed over the summer.
I remember what we talked about in the design trends video about how you find the cool stuff on the 5th version. You stumble on to the beautiful stuff that was not even in your head when you sat down at the computer. So this seems a little too academic, a little too non-summary, but it will pay you rich dividends in the school year. Totally guarantee it.
Absolutely. And if you're not sure where to start, find something that you think looks cool, put it in your program and trace it, right? Like just try building, recreate it and then mess with it. Like if you're not sure, like blank is hard. Blank spreads are hard. We don't know what to do with them. Start with something on the page, place it like an image on the spread and then just draw over it, create your own and then mess around with it. See what you come up with. Because right now the beautiful part is there is zero pressure, right? You're not, it's all playtime. So use your playtime to your advantage. Have fun with it. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Love it.
Yep. And then it hits August and you start feeling that tightening in your chest that
it's happening again.
That it's about time to start. And this is when you plan your boot camp. And we're going to have some new boot camp resources for you. But the thing to do in summer is log that time, or even before the end of the year, say, okay, our boot camp is going to be on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday before school starts. And so we're going to come in, we're going to do a few hours, we're going to give you a little bit of training. It's going to be great. And again, go on walsworthyearbook.com. We have some videos you can use. We have some strategies you can use. And we're going to have some new things for you this year. One more thing we need to talk about, Sabrina, that they need to plan for.
What's that, Jim?
That happens every fall.
What's
we're very excited about it.
You tell me.
Elite Weekend.
The Mike Taylor Elite Weekend experience. Yes. And sometimes you do have to start planning for that now. So I know we're like, you're thinking like, oh my gosh, that's not till September. And you're right. September feels like light years away. Oof. But it's not really, like it's really not. And we've got the break in the summer where a lot of y'all, I know that need to have your field trip paperwork, documentation, all those forms filled out. however many weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, months in advance in order to get it board approved before you can, you know the whole deal. I don't need to bore you with it. You know the situation. It takes time to get stuff like that approved and organized. Start now. Figure out who you're bringing, register, go to walsworthyearbooks.com, go to Elite Weekends, register now, get that off your plate so that it's done when you start the school year in the fall, and then you guys can just plan and have fun and get excited about it and not be so stressed about getting all those details together.
And we get to meet you all in person. That's the best part.
Yes. Always exciting. Yes. We want to see what you've been working on all summer and into the school year. We're excited to look at that. But, there's a lot of things, and we're going to talk more in depth about a lot of these things and more in the training video that's coming up. The 2 training videos that are coming up. Those, yes, 2 of them. And so but the other part of this, guys, is it is a long year. There's a lot of stuff happening. Your summer, take some time. Enjoy yourself.
Oh,
relax a little, right? Jimothy just took a long bike ride, didn't you?
I did.
A long one. How many miles was it?
62 miles.
62 miles. This guy just rode his bike.
Yeah.
Insane. That's so amazing. I love it.
And I didn't think about Yearbook.
No, which is crazy. Normally that's when Jim and I have our best talks, is when Jim's riding his bike.
We will have phone conversations, yes.
Yes, I've got his undivided attention while he's on the road. I can just talk to him.
The point is, build into your summer plenty of non-yearbook time.
Yes.
Get away from it for a time and let your mind go to wherever it's going to go, and just relax so that you're fresh and ready to tackle 25, 26, and all the amazing creative work that's going to come out of it. We get really excited about, the 25, we're getting at our homes, the 25 books, and you guys have done some great work.
Amazing work, and we're so excited to see it. But you got to have a nice rested mind so that you can be ready and raring to tackle those 2026 yearbooks. Can't believe we're talking about 2026 yearbooks, which is crazy, but we're so excited. So definitely use your time now. Plan, organize, celebrate, do all those things now in May. Get ready for the summer. Use some yearbook time over the summer to go to workshops and camps and get excited, but also give yourself that time to rest. Don't forget about Elite Weekend. Don't forget about Advisor Academy. That's out there too. Make sure you're signing up for Advisor Academy, you advisors. So do some yearbook stuff, just not all yearbook stuff. Yes, exactly. A little bit of balance, everything in moderation. But we're so excited for you guys to finish up the school year well, and then your future self will thank you if you plan now for that 2026 yearbook, and then we'll be ready to help you next year. We're excited.
We're excited.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to That Yearbook Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on your preferred platform. Happy yearbooking!